I have seen a lot of videos on mind maps and memory tricks, and I wanted to apply the same idea to engineering and see if I can make some of these concepts easier to understand and remember. Yes, I do agree that engineering has a lot of mathematics involved, but let's be honest, there's also a lot of theory, concepts, definitions, and terminology that engineers need to remember. So let's test mind maps or maybe memory maps on basic engineering thermodynamics, chapter number 1. Now, this is just an introductory chapter, so it's going to be relatively easier, but trust me, thermodynamics can get as hard as the hardest subject in your field, or maybe even harder. So, before we start, let me figure out what actually needs to go into a useful memory map. So, there are basically like five things that you need to remember while making a mind map. So, for mind maps, we need to begin with the core idea or the central idea, and then we need to write down all the keywords around it. And don't forget the diagrams, and then draw branches connecting to the core idea, keywords, and diagrams, and then use at least three colors of pens. And remember, diagrams need to be just a basic sketch, not engineering drawing. So now, first of all, let's note down all the keywords after a brief reading of the chapter. Like, you don't have to read the entire chapter, you just need to look at the chapter and look at the subheadings and all, and you'll get an idea of what the most important terms or words are. And in the middle of the page, you will be writing the core idea or the central idea, and around that you will be drawing a few branches, and you will be writing all the keywords. Now, you don't want these keywords to be floating around randomly, so let's put a circle or a box around each one and start connecting related ideas. Basically, we are turning the page into a visual flow chart, and here's where the actual learning begins. For each keyword, I'm not going to write a whole paragraph from the textbook, I'm going to write the core idea behind it. For example, thermodynamic system, and you'll be writing closed system. This is where mass does not cross the boundary, and open system, mass can cross the boundary. And then you'll just write down the most important things about that particular concept. You can also write ways to remember that. For example, over here, intensive properties are independent of mass. Intensive starts with an in and independent starts with an in. So just like some basic memory tricks. And then don't forget to highlight each and every important word underneath each and every keyword, so that you tend to remember it much better. Coming on to the most important thing in a memory map, according to me, it is a basic sketch or diagram. It doesn't have to be an engineering drawing which is perfect. It just needs to be a basic sketch. Like over here, I have drawn a turtle in order to show that quasi static process is a very slow process. Now, that's how you draw like basic sketches of what exactly it reminds you of, and then that's how you draw mind maps or memory maps, according to me. By the way, one last thing, you don't need a fancy tablet, laptop, or any other device to make a mind map. All you need is a basic notebook and a pen. That's it. And don't worry about making it look perfect. Your handwriting doesn't have to be Instagram worthy. If you can read it, understand it, and remember it later, that's good enough. Because the goal isn't to make a pretty page, the goal is to make your brain remember what's on it. That's it for today's video. If you like the content, do subscribe. Thanks for watching.